Welcome in. If you are here for the first time, I just want to welcome you. Listen, if you've ever wondered, how do I sell anything to literally probably anyone, or how do I sell it to just my target market, target audience, you are in the right place. I want to welcome you here today. We're going to jump right into it as to what will really help you sell in this arena. But welcome. And today is July 4th. So we're just going to go ahead and say happy 4th. May the 4th be with you. That was a corny one. But anyways, welcome in. Welcome in. As you come in, let me know where you're coming in from. Like I said, today I'm going to be talking about speaking and selling. I believe that speaking is an incredible gift. But I also believe that there are people who are paralyzed when they hear the word sell. Wherever you are, you have to sell. If you understand that, like, just go ahead and put something in the comments, because wherever you are, you have to sell. So if you're here for the first time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself to you. So my name is Dee Giles, and not only am I in ministry, but also in the marketplace, meaning I am also a business and messaging coach. I help women, faith-driven women, I help them build, grow, and scale their business online, right? And definitely, if you're faith-driven, anywhere you are, your message has to be refined so that you can really attract the right audience. But even with attracting the right audience, you want to make sure that you know how to sell. Selling is key, and selling is service. If you believe that, I want you to drop something in the comments and say, I believe it, because selling is service. But what does it mean to sell? I want to go ahead and jump right into this really quick and share my screen. Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. Here we go. I wanted to jump ahead and get into this. How to sell anything to anyone. This is important because what does it really even mean to sell? You get what I mean? What does it really even mean to sell? And let's jump into it. Selling, what does it mean? Selling isn't what people think it is. A lot of the times when we think of salespeople, we're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to bump into them. All they're going to try to do is sell me something. Someone's manipulative. But selling is not. Selling, you sell every single day, believe it or not. Every single time you're trying to get your kids to eat their vegetables, it's like you're selling them something, right? Every single time you share your testimony, someone's like, wow, I truly, really needed that. So you don't understand. Every single time that you are talking to someone, you are literally selling. Understand that. Okay, this is important right here. Selling, getting the selling skills that you need will change your life. It will absolutely change your life. Okay. And I'm going to share with you 5 principles to help you become a better speaker and a better person who can sell. All right. Because that's very important to making any kind of money when you are in business. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what selling really is. Okay. What selling really is you're selling people a possibility of transformation. A lot of people think when they're selling, they're trying to sell the features of something, they're trying to sell a product, but really what you're selling someone is, oh man, look at there. There is a possibility of transformation. I see the benefits. I see the reward of where I want to go or what this person's trying to offer me. For example, before I get to the 5 ways, the 5 things that will help you sell, before I get to that, take a good look at this. If someone is trying to sell me weight loss, right? They're not going to tell me, you're going to work out every single day for 5 days. I'm going to wake you up at 6 a.m. and we're going to go. I mean, like, we are going to go. We are going to go, right? And so that's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is, hey, D, I'm going to help you get to your weight loss. I know you want to lose an extra 5 pounds. I'm going to help you lose an extra 5 pounds, and I'm going to help you gain the muscle that you want to get and get really toned and defined so you can be summer ready in like a month. How does that sound? Now I'm like, sign me up. And especially if they say without, having to work out 5 days in the gym, I'm like, sign me up. That's what I want. Okay. All right. So here we go. When people are here's what people are really buying. Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Here's what people are really buying when you are selling. I want you to hear this really quick. What people are really buying is they're buying hope, they're buying solutions, they're buying a better version of themselves, and they are also buying relief from pain and access to a promise. Okay. That's what they're buying. We're going to go ahead and jump to principle number 1. And let me get in there as I share my screen. Did I just remove my screen? There we go. As I share my screen, let me get to principle number 1. Principle number 1 is you want to speak to their identity, not just their pain. Now, everyone is a salesperson, right? Because every single time we think of salespeople, we limit it and we say it's just one person who's always on the phone all the time. Every single time you get on social media, you are selling yourself. Every single time you open up your mouth to have a conversation with somebody, you are selling yourself, because how you present yourself is how you're selling yourself, right? So people will rise to the level of how you speak. I want you to understand that people will rise to the level of how you speak. Okay. I'm going to share a story with you really quick from the Bible as you get on here. Listen to this story from the Bible really quick. A woman came to Jesus with a past. It was the Samaritan woman. She was at the well, right? But when she came to Jesus, he didn't just point out her mistakes. He told her who she really was and what she could become. A witness, right? She could become a witness. She could become a carrier. He told for her, she was like, come, like she went out and she went to go tell everybody, come and see this man basically that has just basically told me everything about my life. Why? Because a person who is speaking to you to sell and having great communication with you, they know how to speak to your identity. They get you. Does that make sense? So you need to understand who you are selling to. Say that really quick. I need to understand who I'm selling to. Oh my gosh, it's key. It's key. We need to understand. I've been on sales calls before, and at the time when I wasn't really familiar with how to sell, I didn't understand my person. So every single time there was an objection, I just was like, okay, cool. Instead, I should have like come back with something and say, but what is it going to cost you to not make this investment today? Right? It's all about having these great conversation and knowing their pain. You got to know their pain, know their identity, understand who you're selling to, okay? All right. Now, here's principle number 2. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to try to go through these really quick. I know it's a holiday and everyone, there you go. Paint a picture with language. And I like to say paint a picture with words. I love what this says here, and this is key. If you can see it really good, it says the human brain processes images at 60,000 times faster than text. Did you hear that? That's why people need images. That's why I have this PowerPoint for you. Because when you start to use language that creates pictures, when you start to use sensory rich descriptions, let me tell you something, people's life will change because they're like, oh my goodness. Have you ever met a speaker that you enjoy watching? And when you're watching them, you're like, they're painting such a vivid picture. Have you met a preacher who is like, you know what? Never mind preacher. Let me go to Dr. Martin Luther King, even though he was a preacher. When Dr. Martin Luther King was speaking, he said, I have a dream. He had a cadence to him. And even when he says, I have a dream, and when he started talking about that colored children and white children will play together, they'll go to the same school. What are you doing? You are imagining it because he is painting a picture with words. All right. So paint a picture, because I always say this: words create worlds. That's why you got to be very cautious of the books that you read, of everything that you watch, because words create worlds. That's it. It's just what it is. All right. So use imagery when speaking. Don't say the program helps with clarity. Say, imagine waking up with a roadmap. No more guessing, right? No more guessing. So if you're trying to sell something to someone, instead of saying, well, my program, it's just going to create extreme clarity for you, you're going to say, no, I want you to imagine every day you wake up and you have a roadmap for you. It takes the guesswork out. The roadmap's there. All you have to do is plug and play. People are like, I want that. Okay. All right. So let's go to principle number 3. Principle number 3 is sell the destination, not the vehicle. Sometimes we want to sell, okay, my program, right? But we really want to focus on the destination. Okay, we want to focus on the destination, focus on the outcomes, the transformation that people are going to get. Imagine, I want you to imagine this really, really quick. If I come to you, Jessica, you're on here, and I say, Jessica, you know what? I was like, I see you have a program, and on your program, it's great. You're selling makeup, and that's wonderful. But can I just get, makeup at Ulta? And then you tell me, no, D, I'm not just selling makeup, actually. I don't sell makeup. Can you imagine you waking up every single day knowing where the placement of your foundation go, where the placement of your highlighter go, your bronzer go, how to create different looks for different moments, how to make sure your lighting is right, the angles? No, you are going to look good every single time you step on stage or you get in front of that camera, since that is your moneymaker. You're going to look great all the time. And I'm like, okay, she's not just selling makeup. She's selling me a whole transformation. And now I'm seeing you're telling me the outcome. You're telling me that I'm going to become so well and skilled. You're like, you know what? And not only that, you're going to have a community of like-minded women where we share and we tell you about clean makeup, all the clean makeup you can get, and you can continue to learn with us. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to stay all the time. You don't have to stay here. This is a starting point to get you going. And I'm like, you know what? So it takes the guessing work. I don't have to go on YouTube all the time. I just have it all in one hub. And I have community, and I have other women who can tell me, hey, that looks good. Go out and do it. I like it. And then there's an emotional connection when you sell the destination, because someone is saying, you get me. You're connecting to the payoff of what someone is going to get when you're speaking. This is the power of words. If y'all understand it, say, yes, I do. These are the power of words, being able to communicate and being able to sell in such a way. I really want to share this skill. It's very important, right? And here is number 4. Use testimonies as proof. Leverage your social media. Show what you've done. Give example story, right? If it happened for her, it can happen for you. Little things like that, right? Being real is what helps you win. I want you to say that. Being real is what helps me win. So you got to use testimonies as proof. We know of a great scripture in the Bible that talks about testimonies. They overcame by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimonies. It shows you that you can overcome by testimonies. Of course, we know what it's talking about there, but I'm telling you something. Testimonies will help you, right? It will help you. For example, if you talk about your clients' wins, if you talk about what your clients went on to go do, that's going to help. Testimony, share the success stories. Share the success story. That's what's going to help you. And what testimonies do is it shifts the beliefs, it shifts the mindset of the person that is probably thinking about taking your offer, or probably just, they've been looking at your reels, seeing what you're posting. It shifts their belief and it says, it plants a seed of possibility. If it happened for them, it can happen for me. That's what it does. Okay. And we're going to go to the last one. We're going to go to the last one really quick. And the last one is, it's a call to action. But you see, it's a call to action with, let me make sure my screen so you can see it. There you go. Call for decision with boldness. Okay. Call for decision with boldness. Clarity is your best win, right? When people are just like, well, if you're interested, why don't you go ahead and click on the link and, we'll call. Okay, what kind of call is this? Is this a strategy call? Are we making sure we are pre-qualifying them before they buy something, right? Oh, I needed my tea. I needed some tea, you guys. All right, so look, you have to be very clear when you're making your call to action, and that's what it's going to be. Don't tiptoe. Be very clear in what you're asking. If you want them to fill out a form, say, just go ahead and fill out this form. Tell them why they're filling out the form. That's going to be key. If you want them to pre-qualify, even when this is even in your DM conversations for people who are learning how to sell. If you're having conversations in your DM and someone's like, oh my gosh, I'm so interested. And you say, yes, I love working with women like you. But you know what, before we work together, I'm going to go ahead and send you this link. It's just a quick form. This form, as you fill it out, when we get it back, we will see if you are the right fit, and you can see if you're the right fit so we can see if we just align together. Right? This is gold right here, okay? So here are some things you can say. If you know this is for you, don't delay. Go ahead, apply right now. You can also say, what would change in your life if you said yes today? Like, ask them, like, I want you to say yes today. So what would change if you said yes today, right? A lot of the times people don't need more time. Because I noticed that they'll be like, well, I just got to go think about it. They don't need more time. They really don't need more time. They need a reason to invest today. They need a reason to make a decision, because what they keep doing is they keep delaying and saying, I'll just do it next week. I don't know if this sounds familiar to you, but it's the same thing with working out. It's the same thing with saying they're going to start a new diet. It's the same thing with saying they're going to change. Like, okay, I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to start Tuesday. What would happen if you started today? Leaders make decisions. They decide quickly. That's what leaders do. The final takeaway I have for you with this is that selling is serving. When you are selling to someone, you are literally serving. So when you have those conversations in such a way of how you can see, how can I best serve my client? And the only way you can do that is when you know your client. That means you know their frustrations, you know their desires, you know what makes them excited, you know their pain points, you know what keeps them up at night. This is how you speak to sell, because when you're speaking to them, you're making sure that you are speaking in a way that they understand you. You're not just speaking to the pain, you're speaking to their identity, right? You're making sure you're clear. And we're not trying to convince you to do anything. We are having a conversation. And if this is in alignment, then we can work together. And if it's not in alignment, then we don't need to. It makes sense. If this makes sense for anyone, let me know. Once you start looking at selling that way, you have no problem. When you start looking at selling as, hey, here's how I'm speaking. Here's how I know I can make a difference right here based on how I speak, what I say. That's all it takes. You just got to have confidence in what you're saying. So I hope this helps somebody. Does anyone have any questions before I leave? Happy 4th of July. I debated if I wanted to go on live today, because I was like, oh, it's the 4th. But I was like, I'm still going to do my duties, and I'm going to come on live with you all just in case anyone has any questions about this. I really want to help you. So let me know. But this is how you sell to anyone. You really just have to know, you have to speak to I speak to the identity, right? So for example, if someone comes to me, I'm not a relationship coach. I'm really not. But if someone came to me and they wanted relationship coaching, um, and it was a woman, and let's just say she's just trying to build confidence as her in her womanhood, then I would literally say, okay, I would have to know her pain. I would have to know what's the struggle, what's her frustration, what keeps her up at night. Okay, she's not confident because she didn't have maybe another woman figure, a mother figure, someone to help her on relationships, right? Okay, the struggle is she wants to make sure that she can be the confident, loving wife she always wants to be, but she's not there yet. And it's probably because she doesn't know her identity. Okay. It might be an identity struggle. Okay. So there's different things that we need to know. So I'm getting to know this woman. She wants to walk in confidence. All right, cool. All right. What else? What else did I tell you? Speak to now, paint a picture with language. Okay. I'm going to paint a picture for her. Okay. Let's just call her let's call her Faith. Hey, Faith, how are you? And she's coming up to me, and Faith is like, I really want to get better. I want to become a better wife. And I would say, Faith, you know what? What would it look like if you like, started with me today? What would it look like if you got some keys today that can actually start transforming your marriage today? Because Faith is telling me, you know what? As soon as I told Faith the price, Faith is telling me she wants to start. Maybe she'll come back next month. And I say, Faith, what will happen between now and next month that you want to start when you don't have the tools that you need? But Faith, when you make an investment in yourself, in your marriage, that's gonna pay off years from now. Instead of waiting, what are we waiting for when we want to make a change? You get what I'm saying? So you paint a picture, you sell the destination. These are the different things that you got to do. Love replacing with the word serve instead. Yeah. You know what, Jonaldi? I think the reason why people have a bad connotation experience with the word selling is because everyone looks at a lot of people, their mentality on selling is that car salesman, that insurance salesperson, that person who's knocking on your door, hounding you, credit card. Like that's all you're getting. But selling is service. Everywhere we go is selling. And don't be afraid to use that word. Don't be afraid. Because if I say, hey, I'm here to serve you, that's wonderful. But someone may still take it out of context. Yes, we are a business. And if I'm here to serve you, I'm here. I need you to understand the serving. I'm going to serve you to the best of my ability, but there's an exchange, right? Back in the day, the exchange used to be, what was it? It was bartering. That's what it was in the beginning, right? It was bartering. People bartered. People bartered. The agriculture age too, people bartered. Hey, I have flour, you have this. Let's trade. I remember watching Little House on the Prairie, and I could tell there, it was bartering. And then after that, you see the exchange start to come when someone's like, hey, I have this, I can do this, you pay me. That's because each of us do something different. I actually learned it from this Jewish book, and I have it here. I just don't see it on my bookshelf. But that's where I learned that from. So, selling a service. Any other questions before I go? This is fun. Today was fun. Literally just felt, come on. I love this. I'm actually going to share this comment. Janai say, thank you for explaining it this way. Literally just felt an internal shift. I love that. And you know why I love it? I love it because there are seeds. How do I say this? There are thoughts. There are thoughts that we have picked up, beliefs, there you go, that we have picked up along the journey. It may have been from your childhood, it may have been from school, it may have been from a bad experience, and we think selling is bad, but selling is actually service, right? Selling is service. It is service. Can you imagine if someone didn't, for example, I'm going to give you guys a story. I remember working at a bank. And when I was working at the bank, I was working at a big bank. This was a big bank. You guys know the bank. Okay, I was working at a bank and you had to get about like 3 sales a day. And man, it was brutal. I think I was like, was 18, 19. And we had to sell 3 times. So every single person that came into the bank, I had to be like, hey, I had to see what account they didn't have. So I was going through the accounts and had to have conversations and see what account they didn't have and then make an offer for them to get an account. Now, listen to this really quick. Listen, if you really want to hear the story, say I do. All right. Here's what I noticed. Do you want to know the people who performed the best, who outdid everyone in sales for the week, for the day, for the month? If you do, say I do. Do you want to know who performed the best? I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know. And then I'm going to show you an example of how good they did. If you're ready, let me know. Okay. All right. Somebody said I do. The people that performed the best were the people who knew how to have good conversations the moment the customer walked up to the counter. Actually, the moment the customer walked in through the door. I'm going to give you an example. All right, here's an example. An example was the customer walks through the door, and let's just say this lady name is Deborah, and Deborah is at the counter, and the person comes in, and she's like, hi, Ronald. And Ronald comes in, and she's like, Ronald, how are you doing today? Ronald's like, I'm doing great, fantastic. Ronald has a business. Ronald has several accounts with us, right? And Ronald comes in to make a large deposit. But, there's something that's off. Here it goes. Ronald comes in and Ronald's like, I'm so excited. I just got this large check from this company, and we've been serving this company. And guess what? There's going to be more checks coming in. So business is going great this year. Oh, that's so awesome, Ronald. I'm so excited for you. What else do you have going on? And Ronald proceeds to say, you know what? We're just building right now, and we just want to make sure we have enough, funds available so that we can take care of some of our expenses and make some investments for our new office building that we're getting. Oh, that's awesome, Ronald. That's awesome. You know what, Ronald? While I'm looking here on your profile, I noticed you have the accounts. You're doing great. Businesses coming in. But I did notice that you said something. You wanted some extra funds or a way of just being able to do what? Have extra expenses so they can make improvements on the building. They can do all. That's what he was basically saying to me. And Deborah goes, have you thought about business credit? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that at all? Because it shows I can get you to a banker right now and they can talk to you about that. That's all you had to do. You just had to get them to the person. And I always noticed it was the people who had the conversations. And guess what? Guess what Ronald would say? And Ronald would say, absolutely, I do. Any way that I don't have to touch my capital right now, that would be so great if I can leverage that. Yeah, let me talk to someone. All right, Ronald, let me walk you right on over to her. No, we ain't waiting for no call. We're going to walk you right on over to that office. Did you hear that? It was always the people who knew how to have conversations. We were serving Ronald. We weren't manipulating Ronald. Ronald said he needed extra funds so that he can absolutely do what? Build, expand. And we don't want to touch the cash on hand to do that. We want to leverage some business credit to be able to do that, to tap into that. Do you understand? Because if one thing I know, I don't want to spend all my funds, all the cash on hand that I have, because I've done that before. And when I tell you can get in trouble, it can get really tight really quick. Is this making sense to anyone? And here's another example. Someone comes. That's why you got to speak to sell. Here's another example. There's another person who's selling, and they're at the bank counter, and someone else walks in, and they're just like, "Hi, how are you?" And the person's like, I'm doing great. And they see the person coming in and the person's depositing this large check. Let's just say they're depositing $50,000 and all that person has is a checking account. They're depositing 50K in a checking account. It's a check. And someone, the tellers on the other hand, on the other side, and they can clearly see that there are other different types of accounts that will benefit, that will better serve this client, and they decide they're not going to tell them because they are too afraid and they feel like I'm just selling, I'm being too pushy. But we'll sit there and have all the conversations about ice cream and are you going to the movies tomorrow? Oh, that's wonderful. All right. You have a great day. And the next thing you know, that client comes back and says something happened to their checking account. There was fraud. Well, Karen, you didn't tell Joe about a better account that would better serve him. Selling is serving. The profile that you opened when the client came up and swiped their card and gave you their ID, gave you a full snapshot of what that person has and what they don't have and what they need. But because of fear, and because we think we anticipate their response, we don't want to sell because we think that selling is manipulative. That's how I used to think. I used to be like, I can't do this. I'm too embarrassed. They're going to say no. They're going to object. And what can we do? And then guess what? I did that many times before. And then they will come next week and the teller next to me who was not afraid and just saw it as, oh, wait, this is a better opportunity for them, and just had the better conversation, and that person did it. And I missed out on my sales and they got it. Do you see how that works? You want to eat? Learn to sell. You want to eat really good? Learn to sell. Or you can go work for somebody. But even when you work for someone, you still have to learn how to sell. It's one of those skills that's not outdated. It really is. It's one of those skills that you need. I believe that God has anointed a lot of people to sell. Actually, if you guys don't know, I think it sounds crazy, but I think some preachers are some of the best sellers, because a lot of preachers will tell you they're hope dealers. They're preaching hope. They're preaching faith, and they're letting you know that Jesus is coming back, and they're letting you know that this is the way. You're selling me something. You're selling me this future of, if I get my life right, I know where I'm going. And if I make sure I get my children's life right and they get their life right and the legacy, you get what I'm saying? Selling is serving. Somebody go ahead and say that. Selling is serving. I'm so glad you didn't miss this either. I'm so glad you're on. I hope this blessed you guys. I want y'all to stay blessed and enjoy the rest of your 4th of July here in the States. And I'm excited. And I'm just going to share one thing with you before I get away from here. If you do not have this book, this is my latest book. It is on Amazon, and I would say go ahead and get it. It's called Next Level You, for Kingdom Women Entrepreneurs who want to program their minds for 7-figure success. It's on Amazon. Go ahead and get it. It's a short read. It's a great read. All right, go ahead and get it, because I want to help women, faith-driven women, get here to making 7 figures. You absolutely can do it. Nothing is impossible. There is expertise on the inside of you that you can take and you can start monetizing. All right. And you can build and dream with God. And it's important you do so. All right. Now, I'm not saying everyone's called to entrepreneurship. I'm not saying that at all. And you don't have to do that. And so I don't want anyone to take it out of context. I just want somebody to know that you can absolutely learn different skills. We are living in a time where the economy is shifting, is changing. Learn different skills. Next Level You. Get this on Amazon. And you know what? When you do get it, go ahead and take a picture with it and send it to me, or screenshot. I want to know that you got it. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to hear all that God does for you through this book. All right. You guys have a blessed day. Stay blessed.